Eden Zero chapter reviews, for the time being, are gonna be back on the channel every single week. I have honestly had a good 6 months of no Eden Zero chapter reviews, and I kind of needed that bit of a break, and I've been slowly, at times, bringing out actual discussion videos for Eden Zero, as those tend to do better than my usual chapter reviews. But with how the final arc is progressing, I honestly think I'm going to try and bring back the chapter reviews as often as I can. No real promises I'm going to be able to do this every single week, but if I have the opportunity, I will bring back these chapter reviews every week, so let's see how they do. So I'm going to try and do this for the rest of the summer at least, so hope you guys enjoy. And for those of you that have been on part of the channel because of the Eden Zero content, I'm back, I guess. But yeah, Eden Zero chapter 243 is out, and it was honestly a good chapter. I have to say, got me hyped, and even gave me some context for things that I was not expecting, but I'm kind of glad were like addressed in the way that it was. So we'll get into that when we get into the actual chapter. But before we get into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel. That and this will also motivate me to keep making Eden Zero content, because I did miss making the chapter reviews for Eden Zero, as these chapters have been really good. So let's keep the train rolling and see how these do. So chapter 243 of Eden Zero, where did that cat come from? Really quick, just want to say I like every single time Mashima makes these cover images. It's always other female characters for the most part of Eden Zero, and he never misses. Allow me to simp for a brief second for Rebecca. Okay, let's move on to the chapter. We start this chapter off with Shiki and Shura, who I honestly never expected these two to ever work together in this whole new universe, but it is what it is. They begin to fly towards the central command of the Empire, as Shiki just says, "Man, you live in the coolest house, don't you?" As Shura just says, "It's not like I built it. The last Emperor, Nero, built the whole empire." As Shiki just says, "Then you're gonna have to take good care of it then." As Shiki and Shura begin to descend into the headquarters, Rebecca lands somewhere else, as in the previous chapter, it was revealed that Mueller was actually listening in on their conversation and hacked into Rebecca's comm system after finding out she had time ether powers, and has been misleading her to a very obvious trap. Rebecca lands at the designated location as Mueller begins to, well, continue to impersonate Shiki in the worst possible way possible, as he tells Rebecca to go for a secret entrance in a hatch nearby. Rebecca notices Shiki being weird, but Mueller just says, well, the comm systems are probably on the fritz or something. Happy finds the hatch on the ground, and Rebecca goes down the hatch, believing it to be a secret entrance to head towards Mueller's lab. As Mueller continues to say stuff like, "This will be a very marvelous, glorious pincer attack," as Rebecca is being like, is this some kind of Ziggy impression or something? One really quick criticism here. I know that Rebecca is probably one of the more smarter people on the crew. She's honestly a really smart character, and she manages to outsmart a lot of people. I just find it very hard to believe that she is being tricked so easily by Mueller, even by a voice changer that is seemingly perfect to Shiki's voice. The way he's talking should honestly be a huge red flag. I know this is for plot to happen, and Rebecca is very trusting. I just really feel like she should have noticed this was an obvious trap and someone was tricking her. Other than that, this was a good chapter. Moving on, she gets down to the hatch, as wouldn't you know it, knocked out gas comes spraying out of the walls and floors, knocking out her and Happy. We then cut to Shiki and Shura as they made it to Mueller's lab, but it has been completely abandoned. Shura crying out to try and find Mueller. Shiki asks if there were any other labs that he would actually be hiding in, as Shura just says, "How the hell should I know?" He then goes onto the comm system and actually finds some of his subordinates that are still in the temple, telling them that comms are jammed and that the machines are going haywire. And Shura just says, "Yeah, I know, this is Mueller's doing. Where the hell is he?" As the workers in the temple are honestly not sure where the professor is either. As then Pino notices something, that there is a massive explosive device somewhere in this laboratory and it is about to detonate, as, yeah, Pino just says, "Yeah, it's about to explode," as we then see a huge explosion on the outside of the castle, as we then cut back to Mueller in his secret lab that is hidden somewhere, as he stares down at Rebecca, strapped down to an operating table, as he begins prep for his experiments. He states that he wants to extract her powers like he did with Zenith, but he might not have the time, seemingly. as a scan has been complete, showing that Rebecca's powers are in her legs, in her feet. As he goes on to say, that's disgusting, and all that, and he doesn't even want to touch them. Then he gets a, honestly, insane idea. Who would have guessed this literal insane psychopath had the idea that, well, if I can't really touch the feet, why don't I just chop them off? If they're parts instead of feet, that will make it much easier for me to use, and it'll be less emotionally damaging for me. If it isn't clear, this man is very unstable. He also goes on to confirm that, based off the scan, Rebecca's powers will remain in her legs even if they're separated from the body. Which means that he doesn't really need the upper body. So what is he going to do with it, he ponders? Oh, maybe I'll use it like a punching bag. You know, this man is sick and twisted. I just need someone to punch him in the face and just destroy him already. He begins to laugh and draws operating lines on Rebecca's legs, getting ready to take them off. As Rebecca begins to regain consciousness, as Mueller introduces himself. When Rebecca wakes up completely, she asks where Happy is, as Mueller doesn't know what she's talking about, as he turns over to look at Happy, who is in a box. As Mueller somehow kind of wrote off Happy, and honestly does not know where he came from in the first place. Maybe he was from an experiment, maybe some space-time distortion or whatever, as Rebecca's like, what the hell are you talking about, man? Again, this man is completely insane. But yeah, he goes on to say, well, whatever, forget about that. I'm in the middle of an important experiment. An experiment that will give me the power to travel through time. As he goes on to explain, you know, he has zenithal gravity powers and he has 20,000 Imperial antimatter bombs. And combining it with time ether, he'll be able to travel through time. With this, he can go across the entire universe and into different timelines. As this sparks Rebecca's memory, as this is basically something that Shiki told her about after his fight with Ziggy, saying that this happened before in a previous reality, where with 20,000 antimatter bombs, Shiki and Rebecca's powers basically resonating, they were flung 20,000 years into the future. But she then goes on to state what we know about Universe Zero. Time is supposed to remain constant. Even if Mueller has everything he needs to travel through time, by the rules of this universe, he won't travel through time. There will just be one massive apocalyptic explosion that'll wipe out multiple planets and all living life within like the general vicinity, just like we saw at the end of the Aoi War arc. But Rebecca stops herself from thinking, saying that Shiki will be able to take care of it. She believes that he'll be able to stop the explosion and everything. But her main concern is this whole big scenario, as she goes over facts that she knows from previous chapters earlier on in the series. From the 2 points that she has actually seemingly viewed the future while unconscious. The first time during Bellio Goer, when she was passed out at the start and saw a vision of a robot uprising. Then, in her next jump forward in the Aoi War, she wakes up to a future where her legs are gone, and she begins to wonder, wait, was the future that I was seeing the future of Universe Zero? Was this the timeline where I lose my legs? Which is really awesome. I was not really expecting to have these pieces of information being brought up, like, at all, because I just thought these were just brief glimpses showing that maybe Rebecca can actually view into the future or something. But yes, and kind of no, she viewed an alternate timeline, and we're actually seeing similar events to what potentially led up to this, which is really nice. I like that we got context and an answer for this. But yeah, moving on back to the chapter, Mueller gets a chainsaw and begins to try and chop off Rebecca's legs while she is chained down. What a better chapter to bring back my Eden Zero content than with a chapter where the main female lead is being threatened by mutilation. This video just got demonetized, I can feel it. As Mueller brings a chainsaw onto Rebecca's leg, as he begins to cut her, and she screams out in pain and agony, all of a sudden a shadowy figure kicks Mueller in the face as he drops his chainsaw. As this shadowy figure states, "That was close. I didn't count on you putting me to sleep." As, I know I'm saying shadowy figure, but it's Happy's silhouette. But the cat says, "Sorry, I'm not your cat. But don't worry, your real cat is asleep in your starfighter. I swapped places with him back when you landed." Mueller asks who this person is, as they wave their face, showing the spiral, as we all know who they are. She states that, "In my line of work, we prefer not to reveal our identities. But I'm from the government, and I've been after you for so long." Revealing Amira, a character we have not seen for nearly 200 chapters. She has not appeared in the story whatsoever, since the ending of Bellio Goer. Literally, I thought Majima forgot about her. I'm sorry I doubted him, but this is actually a really good instance to actually bring her back, because she is an undercover agent, and this came out of nowhere. But hey, she's a government agent going after people with, well, wanting to destroy the stability of the cosmos. So it overall makes sense for her character and how she investigates. I did not expect this happening whatsoever, and I'm actually really hyped to see what's going to happen with her in this arc. Also, she's looking fine as always. I have to say this, it's been over 150 chapters since we saw her last, so I gotta say this. But as Amira states that she can't reveal her identity, Rebecca then goes on to state her identity, because they met in the previous time loop, saying that she is from the Galactic Intelligence Agency and calls her by name. Kinda shocking, Amira being like, how do you know my name? And who I work for? Rebecca begins to say, well, it's kind of complicated, but, well, Amira stops her and says, your information's a bit outdated, though. As right when she's beginning to state who she is and where she's currently working, the lab gets exploded into as the two characters that we knew weren't going to get done in by an explosion show up. As Amira says, I leaked the location of your secret lab, with the final page of the chapter showing the Gravity Boys, Shura and Shiki appearing to take down Mueller and save Rebecca. And honestly, this is probably one of my favorite panels of this new arc, because this just goes so hard with these two characters just bleeding by an explosion and just charging into a hidden lab. I just love this series so much, and I'm glad I'm covering it again. But yeah, this chapter is over, and I am satisfied. It was dark, it got answers to something from the beginning of the series and previous arcs that I honestly was not expecting full-on answers at all, because I will admit, I kind of forgot about it to an extent over this arc. But I'm happy it was addressed, and it was done in a very satisfactory manner. Mueller is punchable and despicable and overall garbage piece of human stuff. I don't know how to describe him. And now we're getting a face-off between this robotic Mueller who has endless gravity powers against Shura and Shiki who also have gravity powers. So I just cannot wait to see this fight. And the sexy spy waifu that no one thought was going to come back, Amira, is back. And yeah, I'm hyped for this series. I'm very hyped to see where this is going to go and how this arc is going to play out. I'm excited, I'm happy. And what is Amira working for? Who knows? We'll have to find out. But that was it for this chapter. I'm glad I picked this one, though I wanted to do like 3 chapters ago with Shiki and Shura meeting for the first time in this new universe, so I wanted to go with that, but I waited a little bit longer because I had other stuff to work on. But with all that said and done, what did you guys think of this chapter? Do you like the twist that we got in this chapter that reveals Amira being back? I know people like that Amira is back. I've seen it all over my timeline. Not complaining. Actually very happy about it. And what do you think is going to happen with this ensuing fight between 3 gravity users in a 2-on-1? Leave your thoughts, opinions, and theories in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for updates on future videos. It really does help, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make on the channel. And I'm really hoping to keep doing these Eden Zero content because it's the final arc. I'd feel very, very bad to not cover it whatsoever, as I did take like 6 months off of covering the series weekly. So let's see how I go with it. But with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I know it's been a while, but look forward to more. And with all that said and done, hope you all have an awesome day.